Stuck in traffic. Salam alaikum. Apologies, stuck in traffic, stuck in traffic. Eric, Isra, Junaid, mashallah, everybody present. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونستهديه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا فمن يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله ثم أما بعد. Today's lesson is about patience and forgiveness, and you all have passed the lesson. Bismillah. This is a class that we decided to dedicate to the names and attributes of Allah, of God. And we've been kind of going through those asma and sifat, those names and attributes, one by one, and having some discussion about them, talking about them, so as to answer the question, who is God? The primary purpose of revelation is to acquaint us with who God is and how God is to be worshipped. One could, without the benefit of any revelatory text, any Quran, Gospel, Torah, just being a person that is alive, it is possible to arrive at the conclusion that there is a creator. There's a book called Hayy ibn al-Yaqdhan, which means like the son of the awake. But it was a work of classical Arabic literature about a young child that was not miraculously, born on a deserted island, and then his parents died. And he learns how to survive by being with animals and this sort of thing. And the story is just about the expansion of that child's consciousness so that the child can believe in God with no revelation, no religion, just being alive, being present, having an active human consciousness that is trying to, determine the why of life. You could arrive at a conclusion that I was created by something. This all came from something. But that deductive activity, that inductive activity would not lead you to any knowledge about who God is. You might know that, okay, there is a God, but I don't know anything about that God. I don't know how to worship that God. I don't know how to entreat or to pray to that God. I don't know how to observe the signs of that God in my life and in creation and in the stories of the people of the past, etc. Revelation is bringing us into that intimate knowledge of God. So that when you read in Quran, He's aqrab min hablil warid. God is closer to you than even your jugular vein. Literally, God is closer to you than yourself. You have to be able to feel that. Studying the names, that's your computer. Studying the names, studying the attributes, help to give you those lenses, help to give you that magnifying glass, so that the things you see them as reminders of the presence of God. And so the name that we've arrived to today is El-Kabir, the great, right? The great. Literally, the word Kabir literally means big. And it's strange how there is a certain rank that is inherently connected with size. If something is bigger, you might be considering this soon if you're buying a diamond ring, the big one. The big one is better than the small one.
The small
And it's something, not all the time, but there's something just about physical size. If someone says, this is a tree, and this is a bigger tree, you almost assume the bigger tree to have a greater importance, a greater significance. It's bigger. That concept also applies not with just physical size, but the grandeur of something. That also applies to the status that is given to something that is greater, right? Its worth is greater, its significance is greater, its importance is greater. And I remember trying to understand this, and one teacher of mine, he said, human beings have a natural tendency to document things that they find great or unprecedented or remarkable. He said, this is why we keep records. He scored this many, or she ran in this amount of time, or he won this many games, she won this many games. This was the first person to do this. She was the first person to do that, right? That's greatness. We're looking for things about individuals, things about objects. That's what I was talking about, physical size, that indicate greatness. This one is special, right? You have, it's like the word in Latin is sui generis, something that is unique among its kind. Now, if you have something that is one of a kind, it is always the greatest. Because usually, something being great, follow me, this is very important to understand, God. Something being great is just that it exceeds other things in its capacity. As I mentioned, this is a tree, this is a bigger tree. This is an athlete, this is LeBron James. This is a tennis player, this is Serena Williams. This is, a 1 carat diamond, this is a 4 carat diamond. This is, you assess greatness in a comparative way. What happens when you have something that is singular in all of its characteristics, singular in its greatness? There's nothing to compare it to. Like, it is by default the greatest. And that's why many people say that there are only 2 things that have absolute singularity. One is you. There will never be another you, right? Now, you're not singular in your genus. There's lots of human beings. You're singular in your particularity. There's only one Zeki. There's only one Zaki. There's only one Hung. There's only one Ubaid, right? There's only one Run, right? There's only one Sania. I got that right. Huh? I always say Sania, right? There's only one. There's only one, right? In the particular, in the genus, there's lots of human beings. In the case of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the particular, there's only one. In the genus, there's only one. So God is great beyond compare. There's nothing that can be, God is the only God, so that he has no analog. Man, that looked like synchronized the way y'all did that.
We had to find it.
Okay, let's make the prayer and we'll come back. How is everybody? Excited for Malaysia? When did you leave? Okay, mashallah. Oh man, I had a weekend to end all weekend. No, we didn't have that. Yeah, no, just being a parent, man. Being a parent. I'm raising a teenager. It's an adventure. Oh, it's an adventure. Yeah, I can understand too, and that's what you have to remember. I used to be a teenager. I've made some bad decisions too. I've made some bad decisions too. The tough time, but this idea of um, God being great, it's great beyond compare. It's not great because PCs are good, but Macs are better. Well, this one is tall, this one is taller. Macs are good, but PCs are better. Macs are good, but PCs are better. He's fast, but she's faster, or something like that. No, this is greatness of a different kind. And our teacher used to say, when you read the Quran, God is only out of his grace establishing the case for his singular greatness. I've done this and I've done this and I've done this and I do this and I do this, and there is no one who can do that. So when Ibrahim is addressing Nimrud, he says, my Lord is the one that causes the sun to rise from the east. If you are claiming divinity, then make it rise from the west. Right? God is saying, I do that. That is my decree. The alternation of day and night. That is my decree. Everything that makes life possible. I was telling this class months ago, I was watching The Scientist. And the scientist was saying how, and he wasn't religious at all. I believe he identified as agnostic. A person, I'm not sure there's a God, whatever. But he said, everything in the world is so precise to facilitate human life. And he's giving mathematical and astronomical figures that were this different, even a little bit, where also we'll come back. Allahu Akbar. 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 My talking about the greatness, talking about the greatness of Allah, as expressed in the name El Kabir, the great. Now, of course, the comparative or superlative of Kabir is Akbar. Akbar. So in Arabic, if a word is on the wazn or the pattern of fa'il, like kabir, like saghir, like qasir, right? So kabir means great or big. Qasir means short or small in stature. Saghir means diminutive or small. All of those words, if you wanted to compare them to something else, you would make them into af'al. So from fa'il to af'al. So kabir, akbar. Saghir, asghar. Qasir, aqsar. So big, bigger, or biggest. Small, smaller, or smallest. Or shortest. The Arabic language is very systematic in that way. So Akbar means greatest. We open our prayers and we say, Allahu Akbar, God is the greatest. Right? You can think about it, Allahu Akbar, min kulli shay, God is greater than everything else. But if you're greater than everything else, you're essentially the greatest. Right? You're the greatest. And it's been mentioned that when you proclaim God's greatness and raise your hands in prayer, it should be like every other concern of yours is being cast off. Every other concern of yours is being discarded. Allahu Akbar. God is greater than my concerns, greater than my worries, greater than my anxieties, even greater than the duties that I need to fulfill. Allahu Akbar. Right? We were praying one day, unfortunately, at Masjid Dawah for this story. Alhamdulillah, that's Zaki's home masjid for many years. This is the old Masjid Dawah on Madison and Carlo. Yeah, Madison and Carlo. And the Imam was praying, leading us in Salat al-Isha. But after he finished, he turned to the Jama'ah and he said, did I pray 3 units of prayer or 4? And a brother said, no, you prayed 4 because I own 4 gas stations. I own 4 gas stations. And in every rak'ah of prayer, I think about the inventory that needs to be stocked at a different gas station. Brother said this, we turned around and said, you said that out loud? No, I own 4 gas stations. And in every rak'ah, I think about what I have to restock at a different gas station. And I made it through all of my gas stations. So you definitely prayed for rak'ah. You were like, La ilaha illallah. The thing is, something like that, it's almost in a weird way a sign of sincerity. Because like, you just said that almost like there was like, doesn't everybody use their prayer to restock the gas station? You know, almost like, what do you think about prayer? Trying to think about God. Oh, I thought everybody thought about their businesses. So that's the only thing funnier than that. The story I heard it. 2 men, both of them dressed like pious men. And they were saying, no, you lead the prayer. No, you lead the prayer. No, you lead the prayer. The other one said, no, I only lead when I have wudu. You know? I only lead when I have. They're just like, where am I? Where am I? But it should be Allahu Akbar. God is greater. Right? God is greater. When you think about anything on both sides, positive and negative. Anything, any negative thing that's weighing you down, right? Could be sadness, could be grief, could be anxiety, could be fear. You have to remember God is greater than that, right? And if I want relief from this negative emotion that is seizing me, seek that relief through God. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel. You know, the context of this verse being revealed, the prophet, peace be upon him, had told some of his companions that, you know, tomorrow we will be surrounded by the ahzab. So the word hizb in Arabic means a group. Ahzab means it's the plural, many groups. So like basically tomorrow they're coming for us. A lot of people. And it will be a grave test of your faith, right? And so when it actually happened, many people, we should be wary of this, but I'm sensitive to it. Imagine somebody who saw the Prophet, peace be upon him, and saw Islam and really thought about his spiritual engagement as like refinement. I'm going to embrace this religion. I'm going to be refined. I'm going to become more thoughtful. At no point is he thinking, I'm going to lose my life. He's just thinking, this is going to elevate me. You know, this is going to, and now people have surrounded the Muslim community, attempting to exterminate them just because they believe in God without partner. Many of them, new to Islam, they fled. This is a little much more than what I was expecting. But there were a group that said, Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel. Right? God is enough for us. Right? Hasbunallah, God is enough for us. Wa ni'mal wakeel. And God is a ni'mal wakeel is like, so excellent is he as a guarantor. If there's anybody who can give me safety, give me security, God is excellent as a, meaning like, are you afraid? No, I have the best security. I have the best guarantor. I have the best advocate. This is why I am unafraid. It's like somebody comes to you, you know, how are you feeling? Are you scared? No, I have my support system is unfailing, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel. Right? Because God is greater than any of that anxiety, any of that fear, any of that grief. At the same time, Allahu Akbar is also a reminder about humility. Because no matter what height you reach, no matter what you achieve, no matter what you become, Allahu Akbar, God is greater. God is greater. And it is sometimes dangerous to witness somebody at the peak of their self-realization, like at the peak of their personal prowess. They feel like, look at me, I did it. I did it. And I think that for classes of people that have experienced a lot of discrimination, a lot of oppression, a lot of inequality, inequity, this is something that many of us are particularly prone to because you feel so much vindication at having succeeded. I did it. All the cards were stacked against me. Everybody betted against me. Nobody thought I could. And look at me now. When you feel like that, you have to remember, it all came from God. It all came from Allah, right? You know, the story of Qarun is really an amazing story. Qarun was a contemporary of Musa, alayhi salam. And Qarun, who min qawmi Musa, he was an Israelite. That's why, you know, kind of set up my segue into the story. Qarun was an Israelite living in Egypt at a time when Egyptian men in particular were being systematically slaughtered. Right? The boys were being killed. Somehow, in the middle of all of that, Qarun still became the richest man in Egypt. The first lesson of this story, some people just hustlers, man. You know, some people it's just animal. You know, you think they are discriminating against Israelites. They are killing and oppressing Israelites. And Qarun, an Israelite, still ended up the richest man in Egypt. I could teach a daughter that's a daughter in and of itself. That because he had so much against him, who knows the kind of ingenuity, creativity, relationships he had to leverage even to become what he became, right? When somebody is quote unquote self-made in that way, and this is a dangerous term. We love to use the term, a self-made this, a self-made that. Qarun is the quintessential self-made person, self-made. Right? And I think this is why his story is mentioned in the Quran the way it's mentioned. Is that he didn't inherit money. See, a person that is born into great wealth, they might be arrogant, right? Because they've always been treated with preferential treatment, and they've had a path that was smooth and paved for them. But they don't have they don't have the same kind of pride as the person who built the wealth. You're just a beneficiary of this wealth, right? You grew up with the silver spoon in your mouth, right? So you're arrogant, but it's like not arrogant because you did anything. You're arrogant because of what you were just born in. You didn't do anything. You know, it's almost like that's every kind of affiliation. To me, that's the paradox of affiliation. When you say that you're this, you're that, you get to benefit from the work of other people who made that name into something people revere and respect. You say, I went to Yale, I went to the University of Chicago, I went to Northwestern, somebody did something professionally to make that name something that people respect. Person says, I'm from the Holy City, I'm from this place, I'm from that place, somebody did something from that place that made that place something you can say and instantly be respected. You, on the other hand, you're just from the place. You didn't do anything. Right? You just got admitted to the school. You haven't done anything yet. You haven't done anything remarkable. Right? You just benefit from the affiliation with people that have been excellent. I work at this place. You haven't done anything yet. Right? When you are the person who built it, your pride is different. It's kind of like, I'm not just a beneficiary of the association. I did that. I was the one who made the name something other people want to be associated with. It was me. Qarun was one such person, and I built this. Allah talks about the money that Qarun had and said it would take 10 strong men, a group of men, right, an isba, between 3 and 10 people, just to carry the keys. Not the money, just to carry the keys that he used to unlock the storehouses where he kept his wealth. That's how large the storehouses were. That just to unlock the storehouses, it would take a group of 10 men just to unlock. This is just where I keep. This is my vault. Think about one of those bank vaults, right? And Allah mentions that everybody who would see Qarun would wish for what he had. Oh, God. Look at Qarun. Another human tendency. Look at all of the money. What must it be like to live like that? Whenever somebody says that, I always say, do you know, there are many people who are looking at you the same way. I know that because I've traveled. There are people who look at regular Americans like running water, central heat every day, stable food every day. What must it be like to live like that? One of my friends said he came from Togo. Then he walked into a supermarket and started crying because he had never seen that much food in one place. He walked into a supermarket and started weeping. And because he thought about just the difficulty his people had in accessing food, and here they have it in America arranged in like rows. What is this? There are people who think about your lives in that way. Now, what must it be like? Just getting in cars, going where you need to go. And we know, because this is my norm, sometimes I scarcely even thank God for it. It's just what it's just normal to me. You mean you don't? I mean, it's just like, it's just normal to me. So Allah mentions they wished that they had what Qarun had. Qarun made a point of dressing in a very flashy way. He's one of those guys that, I am the richest man in the room. I want you to know I'm the richest man in the room. I'm the money in the room. Allah mentions that he had on his fakhfakh, he had on his finery. Right? You could just, the Quran, the language of the Quran is very vivid. So you can imagine somebody, I got all of this money, I have, all of this status, I'm known to be rich, I'm dressed very nice. Somebody came to him and said, Qarun, man, just thank Allah for what Allah has given you. Qarun is a believer. People don't realize it. Qarun was an Israelite. Israelite muwahidun, they believe in Allah. Just thank Allah for what Allah has given you. Qarun got upset. Thank God. Inni utituhu ala ilmin indi. The money that you see, the wealth that you see, I acquired this because of a certain knowledge that I had. It wasn't God. It wasn't some mysterious mystical force. This was skill. This was ingenuity. This was dedication. I did this. And it's hard to expend great effort to achieve something and still recognize Allahu Akbar. God is greater. I know how hard you worked on it. I know how hard, you've been in med school and then, rotations and residency. And then you started your own practice and now you're a multimillionaire and you've worked very hard. But don't make the mistake of believing all of this came to you just because of who you are. All of this came to you from the grace of God, and it's a test for you. But it's easy to forget that when you're the person that did it. It's actually easier to tell somebody who inherited the money. See, somebody who inherited the money, man, this came from God, man. Just thank God for it. It did. It did. I ain't worked a day if I never worked a day in my life. Somebody said to Paris Hilton, man, this came from God. It did. It did. Because I know I didn't work for it. I didn't do anything. I was just born into this family. But the person who built the wealth, God, do you know how many hours I've spent doing this? Do you know how extensively I would study my investments? How carefully I looked after them? Do you know how many consecutive nights I would go without sleeping, getting my money straight? This is how you feel when you feel like I did it. It's me, I did it. Allah mentions that he continued walking. God, a sinkhole developed around him and his wealth. He's going to check on the money. Because Qarun, you get the sense in the story, he likes to monitor the money, to look, okay, yeah, there it is. It's still there. It's still there. No, so no, I kid you not, man. If I was going to do a comedy set, I probably would make most of my set about human beings' relationship with money. Because it's funny. It's funny. When you really think about it, it's funny. It's kind of like if there are people, nothing in their life changes from day to day. They wake up and check their Bank of America account every day. Nothing has changed. It is just like a pacifier, like an agitated child. It's just a source of confidence. Go ahead. I mean, I remember when I first bought my home, I would check Redfin every day. Okay, still has the same value. I don't even have a plan to sell it. What does it matter? The market goes up there. I'll just check Redfin. Wow, Zillow was saying that it went down 20,000. Who cares? But we have a strange relationship with money because our security, our sense that I can take care of myself is connected to it and not the money. So Qarun is going to, and not Allah. It's connected to the money and not God. So Qarun is going to, the money's still there. Sinkhole developed around the vault and around him. Him and the money sucked into it. And they said all the people who were previously looking at Qarun envious of him were now thankful that they weren't him. As they used to say, see ya, wouldn't want to be. See ya, wouldn't want to be. Right? Because Qarun forgot in his highest moments, just like we have to remember in your lowest moments, Allahu Akbar. God is greater than my pain. God is greater than my sorrow. God is greater than my sadness. God is also greater than your success. God is greater. God is greater than your success. God is greater than your prosperity. God is great. You have to remember that. It's just a test from Allah. We thank Allah. We thank Allah. So the first thing about living with this name, be humble. Be humble, man. Truest words ever spoken in hip hop. Be humble. Be humble. Really, be humble, man. Be humble. There are only two kinds of people in this world: the humble and those about to be humble. Be humble. Don't be arrogant. Be humble. Be humble. Right? The Prophet ﷺ said, "Man tawada'a nafsahu lillah rafa'ahu Allah." Whoever lowers herself for God, God will elevate them. Right? وَمَنْ رَفَعَ نَفْسَهُ, right? أَخْفَضَهُ اللَّهُ. Whoever, arrogates himself will be debased by God. Right? In the end, will be debased by God. Be humble. The Prophet ﷺ, of all the things that he was known for, he was known for his great humility. Humble, right? Humble in how he treated other people, humble in his regard for himself. One woman, and this is why, subhanAllah, when you see, when I was a kid, there was a documentary kind of movie kind of thing that was produced about Michael Jackson called Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. And you would see the concert footage of the fans fainting they would be, Michael! And just fall out. Or somebody would come close and, Mike would reach out his hand, Michael! And it's weird because you don't see that as much as you used to. That was there was a time when that was something now there's too much TMZ and stuff like that. See, celebrities don't have this air of untouchability that they used to have. Like when you didn't see celebrities all the time, when you saw a celebrity, it was almost like, oh my God, it's her. Oh my God, it's him. Oh my, oh my. Yeah, I saw this funny thing. I'm completely off topic, but roll with me. I saw this funny thing with Denzel Washington, screen actor, and Steve Harvey, television, radio. And he said Denzel Washington told him, look how people react to me and how they react to you. So oh my God, Denzel, you are this, And he said, they only get to see me, they have to pay money to see me. Movies. They only see me every once in a while. Kind of et cetera, it's more exclusive. He said, watch how people react to you. Yo, Steve, what's up, man? Because they turn on the television, they turn on the radio, they hear you. It doesn't create love, right? When you didn't see as much of celebrities, people would faint. I remember as a kid watching the footage of Michael Jackson's moonwalk, people meeting Michael Jackson and just passing out. You can look this up. This was not fake. This was real. There was a woman. She had converted to Islam with her tribe. She was coming to visit the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet ﷺ approached. She asked, is that him? They said, that's him. She looked at him. And she fainted. She looked at him and she said, is that him? That's him. She passed out and fainted, right? The Prophet ﷺ was the first one to run over trying to comfort her. Right? She came to, and they said, I'm nothing but the son of a woman who used to eat dried meat in the streets of Mecca. Like, that was the humility of the Prophet ﷺ. So Michael Jackson didn't say that. Michael Jackson didn't run up and say, I'm just the son of a man who used to work in a steel mill in Gary, Indiana. Not that big a deal. Mike probably just, off to the next one. And said, hey, look, I'm just the son of a woman who used to eat beef jerky. That's really dry meat, really beef. I'm just relax. People would say to the Prophet ﷺ, you are the greatest of God's messengers. And he would say, don't say that I'm greater than Yusuf. Don't say that I'm greater than Yunus. And then don't say that I'm greater than him. Right? Now, of course, we say he's the greatest. we say he's the greatest. We say that was from his humility. But he is the greatest. But he would say to people, don't say that I'm better than them. Don't speak in a comparative language like that, because it detracts from what they are. What the Prophet ﷺ would say, don't exaggerate about me like Christians did about Jesus. Right? Don't exaggerate about me. Don't exaggerate about who I am. Don't exaggerate about what I am. Right? If you mention me, say the messenger of God and his servant. That, they say, the Prophet ﷺ, of all the names that he was called by, the name he loved the most was Abdullah, the servant of God. Right? A name that highlighted his humility. The Prophet ﷺ was with the angel Jibreel ﷺ on the Isra and the Mi'raj. And he was presented with 3 vessels to drink from. One was of wine, one was of water, and one was milk. Which one would you have chosen? The wine? You want some wine? You want some water? Or you want some milk? Which one is it? You want some wine?
Taste them all.
Taste them all, see which one you like to have. Prophet ﷺ chose the milk. Angel Jibreel said, you've chosen the path of balance and moderation. If you would have chosen the wine, it would have been a path of extravagance. If you chose the water, a path of great austerity, like a monkish, like a monastic path, no money, no property, no nothing, just worship of God and nothing else. I have no connection to the dunya whatsoever. That was represented by water. Extravagance was represented by wine, and milk represented balance, right? But even in his balance, the Prophet alayhi salam tended toward the water. His natural state was kind of more toward austerity, less toward excess, right? The Prophet alayhi salam would go into the market and he would tell the vendors, right, that have different, varying levels of quality in their wares. Don't give me the best, because I don't want to pay for the best. Don't give me the worst. Just give me what's in the middle. Just give me, if you have your best, I don't know, fabric and your worst fabric, just give me the one that's pretty good. Except with perfume. They said with perfume, cost was no object. Prophet ﷺ, he went in, he was buying perfume, the best one you have. Whatever the price, the best, right? Because he really liked that. But he was, he proceeded through the dunya in a humble way, right? Always with humility. Now, one ibara, one adage that I really like is that being humble is not thinking less of yourself. It's thinking of yourself less, right? That humility is not thinking less of yourself, right? Because I always tell people, even when we pretend like we don't think very highly of ourselves, we still do, right? I think inside of all of us is a little vanity. Let's face it. Let's be real. Even when we say, I'm the worst, I'm nothing, I'm telling you, there's no one worse than me, I'm telling you. I always joke, marriage and trying to get married, it shows us to be liars. Because as soon as a sister mentions in her profile, I'm looking for a respectable, gentle, sweet, loving, practicing, hardworking Muslim man. Each one of us reads it and says, yep, that's that. Yep. Sounds like there's some compatibility. Yep, I think she's definitely looking for me. Nobody I've yet to see, especially if they like the person. I've never seen anybody read this and say, I thought there was something until she said sincere. She said, yeah, when she said, a good, sincere, practicing Muslim, that took me out of the running. Nobody does that. No, never. Everybody says, definitely seems like she's looking for me. Sisters too, I'm looking for a gentle, intelligent, resourceful, beautiful, understanding, sincere, practicing Muslim woman with conviction. Every sister reads it. Yep. He's got good taste. He's looking for me. Inside of all of us is some vanity. So they say, look, it's not necessarily about thinking less of yourself. Just give thanks to Allah for what you think you are. Because if we tell you think less of yourself, it's not going to work anyway. Right? It's not going to work. Think less. Okay. Is everybody different? That's true. Everybody different. But I think that more people think very highly of themselves than think lowly of themselves. Even when it comes to, I think insecurity and the lack of confidence is not, doesn't mean you don't have vanity. There's something in you that when you express that to other people, there's a kind of, you don't want to, or maybe you feel, I don't know, some kind of way about it. But when you're all alone by yourself and you think, I'm a pretty good guy. I think I'm, yeah, I think I'm pretty good. I think I'm pretty good. I think I'm special. I think I'm pretty good. There's something there. Some people say, if you spend your life trying to get rid of that, you'll waste your time. Right? If you rather whatever you think is good about you, just thank Allah for it. As opposed to trying to get to a place where you know, I really think that I'm nothing. You know, the Prophet ﷺ looked in the mirror and he said, well, Allahumma ahsin khuluqi kama ahsanta khalqi. Oh Allah, beautify my character like you beautified my appearance. Right? He said that he thought he was beautiful. Beautify my character like you beautified my appearance, right? However, it is possible to think of yourself. Thinking less of yourself may be hard. Thinking about yourself less, meaning when you get up in the morning, don't just think about how you can satisfy yourself, how you can, what you need to do to take care of your business, what you need to do to secure your happiness. Try to think about something else. Try to think about some other people. Think about what you can do to make somebody else happy, right? My sister Hong Wen Lee, my brother, remind me of your name, brother. Charles. Some of the best marital advice I've ever been given. Allah, from Allah, right? Allah, Eric Frank. When you wake up in the morning, after you say your prayers, and if you're not praying, after you get up, to think about one thing that you intend to do to make the other person happy. That you intended. Not, there will be many things that you will do, but it won't be something you intend. You might open the door, you might make a breakfast, but there's one thing that you're thinking, today I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to bring home Ferrero Rocher or something like that, because my wife likes Ferrero Rocher. Or I'm going to, usually she performs these chores. I'm gonna, when she comes downstairs, it'll already be done. So I went here and took care of that about it. My husband on his way out the door, I'm going to make sure that he didn't know that, his favorite snack or something like that. He loves, I don't know, Ruffles chips, and as he's leaving out, got some Ruffles chips. Right? Just thinking of yourself less. Sometimes I'm shocked at just how much I can think about just myself. Oh, what I gotta do. I gotta do this, I gotta do that, I gotta do this, that. I wanna do this, I wanna do this, I wanna achieve this, I wanna accomplish, I wanna do this. And it really feels good to think about other people. And there's a spiritual wisdom that says, if you keep yourself on that path, just trying to think about other people a little bit more, you will find that you will achieve humility. You will become a humble person. As opposed to a person sitting around trying to really, I'm great. Be a good guy. You can't do it. But if you just try to think about yourself a little bit less, you'll find that you'll become a humble person. That's really the path. Just thinking about yourself a little bit less, a little bit less, a little bit less. The Prophet ﷺ, greatest expression of his humility, on Yom Qiyamah, when everybody will be worried about themselves, he'll be worried about other people. The ultimate, the Prophet ﷺ, he gave away every piece of disposable income he had every day before he went to sleep. This is true. These are not just made up stories. Thinking about other people. What can I, who's hungry? Who needs clothes? Who needs help? I find that some of us, man, we're agitated when we find out somebody needs help. Somebody calls us, man, you think, why? Yeah, you can have $5. Well, all this on $5. He did all this on $5. Thinking about yourself a little bit less. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين وآخر دعوانا And then alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. I apologize for being late. I will try everything in my power to be on shape, to be on time. What's on my mind? I told you, I mean, Sonya's been coming with us for years. I know Sonya Merchant. I know her. I forgot her name. I'm talking. When I tell you this weekend was crazy. So I'm really just. I'm really just like. Oh, it's teenage stuff, man. Yeah, man. When you have teenage, you start realizing I've lost the ability to connect in a way. Not like the pop culture stuff, but like I'm really like I have to be reminded by my mother. Because I'm really like, I just don't understand how you can make a decision like that. Somebody said, you tried to steal my car while I was asleep and pick your friends up and go downtown. What? I had what? Exactly. Yeah. It's like you get easy, babe, talking about humility. You can get on your high horse like, how could you ever, until you think, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. My friend, Darren Alexander, his father had a Ford Escort. Something was wrong with the ignition to where it would turn over with no key. We would skip school. His father would go to work, we would get in the car and drive it all over the city. You know what I'm saying? I mean, looking like we had no business in the car. You know, we just look too happy. Nobody's driving down the street that happy. We just come back, try to park the car exactly where his father had it. Exactly his father had it. Come from the direction of school with our book bags, like he's come from the house. It wasn't until his dad, was like, man, how'd y'all enjoy lunch? School lunch, man. Just like, well, I'm talking about Popeye's chicken. Huh? Popeye's chicken? We went to Popeye's chicken. Popeye's chicken? What happened to Popeye's chicken? Come on, man. Y'all went out driving my car today? We lied to our teeth. They say, man, you're desperate when somebody is giving you details and you still lie. If somebody asks you, hey, were you at DIC on Monday wearing all white with some black shoes? No. You don't have a blue sport jacket at DIC on Monday? No, it wasn't me. So, what happened was, my friend, he got roasted for that. And rolled past one of his father's friends was coming down the street and saw him. And put that call in. As we thought we'd be so smooth. Somebody, and that's they say, man, somebody always you never believe that Allah is watching, but somebody else is always watching. You never know. Somebody always you see something. You know what I mean? So it was a crazy, crazy weekend. Now I gotta remember, I've been a teenager. I made some bad choices. Like, girl, you could have got killed. What are you thinking, man? La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. So it was a tough weekend. My phone screen got broke, had to get it repaired, grab it from Claiborne and North Avenue, and then had to try to run back down here. So I was late today. I'll make a point of being on time next week. That's the regular stuff. Zaki, how many kids you got, you? Huh? Yeah.
That one little kid. Hey.
Yeah, I almost said.